Fellow Toastmasters, do you like stories? Yeah. Of course, we all do. And that was what I liked about the beginning of Paul's speech. He started like he was telling us a story. In 2017, blah, 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 blah. And he went on to narrate some events that happened. And that actually is a great way to keep people involved and to create a context for us to connect to, which was important for his speech because he then took that context and connected it to us here at Toastmasters. So that platform was important. Something else that was interesting about his speech is the language, and especially some of the key phrases he would come out with, like great, committed, dedicated leadership, excellence. It's the coaches. And so we kept these key ideas in front of us to guide us and to make it stick. And I like the structure again because he started with that story talking about rugby and that world of competition and then connecting it to us here at Toastmasters so we could then get a reference point and see that comparison and he gave some examples. For example, our kind of competition with Kaohsiung Toastmasters and DCP points. So that I thought was very valuable for us. Now, how could we work on challenging Paul some more?
That's right.
More growth.
7-0.
Well, there are a few ways. One of them might be as you're telling the story, perhaps actually make it come to life as you're talking with the 2019 World Cup. 2 years later, I was watching the World Up and the game came to the end and the announcer says, and the winner is the South Africa Springboks, and kind of play it up like the announcer of the game or something like that. And again, for 4 years later, that might be a way to bring more life into that. Another challenge, which actually is not so much of a challenge anymore for you compared to the early days of Toastmasters, it's energy and voice management. Because you do like to use a microphone now, and you already have a strong voice, so by intentionally managing your energy and dropping that voice low, maybe one time in every speech you do, or intentionally pausing a little longer, decompressing, letting the energy subside, giving us in the audience a little bit of a decompression, and then when you ramp up again, we're ready for it, and we get more out of that. So that actually would add a greater depth of variation, because you're great at the mid to high level energy, and just add a little bit of the low. One more thing that might be a challenge, as we discussed, the timing was actually intended to be 3 to 4 minutes. Of course, it was scheduled already at 5 to 7. And I've struggled with this too with some special speeches where the limitations don't really fit what the event is, where you're trying to honor some particular members as well in your speech and make it fit for this. What I've done before is I've used a Q&A speech type format and talked to the TME or VPE and timer in advance, saying, okay, I'd like to have this part of my formal speech. I'm going to basically wrap up my speech here. And when you hear this, that's the end of that. And then just add on another like table topics timing or evaluation session timing, where at the end you can give some particular acknowledgments. And sometimes we might even give an award and take a photo, which naturally connects to the theme of the meeting. But that photo taking time is awkward, time consuming. You don't want it within that controlled time, because that happens.